Okay. Well, the reason why some people don't want to start the business is because they can't see an end. Like when you go to college, right? When you go to college, you can see an end in sight. Like you know that, hey man, at the end of the 4 years, as long as I don't fail, I pass all my exams, right? At the end of the 4 years, I'm gonna get my college degree. Correct? Right? So that's a known variable. Like that's known. Like you are very clear, and everyone is very clear that hey, as long as you pass your exams and everything, which you believe that yeah, I can pass all these tests, right? I can memorize all this stuff and pass it because that's what school is, right? It's just a big old fucking long ass 4 years worth of memory tests to see how well you remember things. Is not a school does not determine if you can actually do something. It just shows that hey, your college degree shows that hey, you are capable of listening to this or reading this and memorizing it. That's what it shows, right? And it shows that you're capable of showing up on time for 4 years and do these things so that you can get your college degree. That's what it proves. Okay, and lots of people are comfortable with that. They're comfortable with the fact that they can come here and show up. As long as they show up, like you're not stupid, man. Like you know how to fucking goddamn study and take a test and pass and memorize pass those memory tests. You're capable of doing that. You're not retarded. You don't have Down syndrome or some shit, right? So you feel comfortable doing that. You feel like, hey, you know what? If I do this for the next 4 years, at the end of the 4 years, I'm going to get my college degree. Correct? But what happens is when you go out there and become an entrepreneur and you build your company, right? Like I built 58 websites before I succeeded with 2 of them. Okay? Before I succeeded with 2 of them. And when I succeeded with 2 of them, the 2 websites that I succeeded with, the one in English and the one in Vietnamese, the one in English is a cryptocurrency website, right? That teaches people how to make life-changing profits in the cryptocurrency market, right? The course that you bought, the course that you invested in, right? So that's one business, right? And then I have the Vietnamese channel where I talk about personal development. Like I talk about how I came out of prison and how I was able to get back on my feet, get jobs, meet women, get a wife, have kids. And so the things that I did to change myself to go from being in poverty and being coming out of prison and being in poverty to coming up and becoming a multi-millionaire, right? So I had to build 58 websites before the last 2 succeeded. I wouldn't say the last 2. I'm just going to say that before 2 out of those 58 succeeded. Okay? And when I did that, right, most people, my friends, many people that I know around me, my colleagues, my coworkers, they gave up. They didn't want to do it with me. Why? Because they saw no end in sight. There was uncertainty. Like, like if I go do it with you, Ty, when's the company going to make money? When are we going to build, make anything, right? But right now, right, I have, on average, over $10,000 a month coming in from our business, and both those websites that have succeeded, one of them is on track to, surpassing $2 million in sales, and the Vietnamese site, that's the English site, and then the Vietnamese site, we're on track to surpass $1 million in sales this year. Like these things are about 2 years behind. Okay, the 2 years behind because of the COVID, the fake pandemic that they locked down the whole world. So that affected me, my business and stuff. But besides that, so from the time I came out of prison in 2006, right, to the time that I built the business so that I can build $2 million businesses, right? I would say is from 2006 to 2016 is 10 years, right? So until 2003, that's another 17 years. It took me 17 years to build 2 businesses that does $1 million a year, right? Or does $1 million, right? However you want to look at it, right? So that seems like a long time, right? And most people will quit and give up. Most people will quit and give up, and they don't want to fucking do that because they're like, man, you know what? that I don't know when I'm ever gonna make money from that shit you're doing, Ty. Right? But now I got 2 businesses that bring in money. Now keep in mind, like where the bulk of my money comes from, right? Yeah, it comes from trading crypto. It doesn't come from the business. It comes like the business, even though it has, I'm on track to have 2 businesses that does $1 million in sales, over $1 million in sales, right? The majority of my income, right, still comes from trading crypto. It does not come from the online businesses that I have. Okay? So I do that because I enjoy building stuff. I don't enjoy, like, some people, like they make money and they go sit on at the beach, at the golf course and play shit all day, That shit does not excite me because I'm not building stuff. I'm not creating stuff. I'm not producing. I'm not manufacturing. Like, I play golf for a whole year or lay on the beach for a whole year. What do I have to show for it? Nothing. Nothing. And I don't like to live a life where, at the end of the year, I have nothing to show for it. You might say that, I have, memories or experiences. Fuck that shit. I don't give a fuck about memories and experiences. Let's say that I spend a year playing golf or I spend a year sitting on the beach drinking coconuts and shit, and I meet you. How can I share my 1 year of playing golf? How can I share my 1 year of laying on the beach with you? How? How do I do that? I can't share that. Fuck no, I can't share that. But if I want to share something with you, I truly want to experience, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I would prefer to spend that year, right? Even though I'm retired now, I would rather spend that year writing a book, painting a picture, carving a marble statue, right? Writing a song. I'm not a songwriter, but if I could, I would, right? I would build something. I would produce something. I would manufacture something that when I see you, right, after a year, I can say, hey, man, check out this painting I just painted. Hey, here's a book, man, that I just wrote. Here's a song, man. Check it out. Listen to it. That's what excites me, man. I don't get excited, going down to the Maldives with my family and experiencing it for a week or 2 and saying they're going on vacation, spend $10,000-$20,000 and come back and have nothing to show for it, other than a couple of pictures of my family in the beach or in the water or snorkeling or scuba diving, and then come back and have a few photos and a few memories, and that's it. The reason why I don't enjoy doing that is because the only people that can share those experiences and memories with me is me, my wife, and my 4 kids. 6 people. That's it. I spend $20,000 and go do that and come back, and only 6 people in this whole planet of 8 billion people can benefit from what I just did. So that has no value to me. That to me has no value at all to me. And you might say, hey, well, Ty, it's a experience. Well, fuck the experience. Because I came home and I just forgot about it. Right? Whereas if I write a book about how I grew up in the refugee camps, how I went to live in the ghettos in America, how I was shot by the police, I shot back at the police, how I was robbed, how I was mugged, how I was beat up, and how I went to prison for almost 14 years for drugs that I didn't have, right? That they accused me of having, and how I was able to survive, Leroy and Tyrone trying to rape my ass and shit, how I survived that and came out, right? And survived 3 heart attacks and be able to become a multi-millionaire in this world, right? And live the life of my dreams and not somebody else's life or somebody else's dreams. And I share that book with you or that video with you. To me, that has more value. To me, that has more value. So when I build these businesses, right, the money that it makes is nice, Of course, anybody that fucking makes a $10,000, $15,000 a month, recurring income each month, of course they're fucking gonna be happy. I'm not gonna sit here and be a jackass or an asshole and say that I don't enjoy that income from my business, right? But at the same time, what I enjoy more is that I'm able to build stuff, create a product, create a course, create a video, create a book, write a book or something, create a training manual that helps other people change their life. That has more value to me. And I know that when I die, I can pass down all this content, all these thousands of videos that I create in my life, all these courses that I create in my life, all these books that I write in my life, I can pass all that down to my kids, and they can pass it down to their grandkids, and they can pass it down to their great-grandkids. Whereas that vacation I took with my wife, and I spent $20,000 to go to vacation in the Maldives or in Paris or in Italy or in Milan or whatever, you know, that shit, as soon as I come back home from that vacation, it's done. It's done. I can never repeat it unless I go there again, and no one else can share that experience with me. Whereas my books, my course, my training materials, my videos, right, my words and my statements, I can share that with hundreds of generations after I'm dead, and while I'm still alive too. Like I'm sharing with you right now.
As far as, I know that's how you feel about vacation, but what about, like, the quality of how your kids and your wife feel about you after that too?
They enjoy that.
I get.
You think my wife is complaining living in $1 million condo?
No, it's not that. It's like, it's like, okay, you forget, like, let's say you take that trip, but you forget it in a day, but then your family doesn't forget that in the same way, They don't remember it.
We say that, what generation are you in? I think you're in the millennial generation. Is that right? You're 37 years old?
Yeah.
Right?
So we got the experience.
Yeah, okay, so the millennial generation loves to experience shit, right? But here's the reality. Here's the reality, okay? I took my wife, she's part of your generation too. She's a millennial, right? I'm 52 years old. My wife is like 39, I think, right? And what happens is, I took her to Hawaii. Like every major city in the U.S., I have taken her to when we lived in the U.S. If you ask her right now, do you think she gives a shit about any of them? Like in theory, we say that, oh yeah, it's the experience, you gotta experience this, right? But the reality is, man, our memories fade and our priorities fade. Okay? When you're 20 years old, right? When you're 20 years old and you go spend a month on vacation, right? In Disneyland, in Tokyo or in Seoul, Korea or whatever, that 1 month of experience makes up a big portion of your life because you've only had 20 years of life. And out of that 20 years, you've really only been aware of what's going on around you, maybe for like 10 years. So from the time you're 10 years to the time you're 20. So that 1 month going on vacation and stuff is a massive amount of experience in relationship to the life that you have lived. But when you're 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old, you've experienced so many things in your life that 1 month of experience or that 1 week of vacation, even though we say that it's an experience that you won't forget or whatever, the reality is we do fucking forget because it's only a small slice of your life. When you're 20 years old, that might make up, right? Like, let's say, I'm making up some numbers here, okay? I'm just making up a number here just so we can talk and have a conversation here, right? So let's just say that your Disneyland experience when you were 20 years old, that was let's say that was 5% of your life experience. But then when you're 30, 40, 50 years old, that's not even like 0.5% of your life experience. So why would you remember that? You would think that I spent almost 14 years in federal prison in America at 7 different federal penitentiaries in America. You would think that was harsh time and I remember all that, right? But the reality is I don't. I only remember the big pain points, like, when those black guys, trying to rape my ass and shit. Yeah, I remember that. When that gangbanger tried to whip my ass and test me when I first got into the county jail. Yeah, I remember that. When that Sereno gang leader wanted to smash me in the face with a 25-pound dumbbell, a 25-pound plate, because I stood up to him. Yeah, I remember those things. When we had the biggest prison riot in Louisiana at the detention center, and I've never seen so many human beings try to kill each other. Yes, I remember that. When I tried to save some of the prison guards and some of the prisoners during that riot, because I didn't want to see them get killed. Yes, I remember those things very vividly. Like, as I talk about it right now, I can still see myself running from one place to the other, trying to save people's lives during that prison riot in Oakdale, Louisiana. right? I was trying to save this cop's life because, you know, he helped out a lot of prisoners in there, and I didn't feel that it was right just because he was a prison guard that other prisoners should try to kill him, right? So I remember that vividly. I still remember running up to the fence and having my hands on the fence and yelling at him to run to safety, to where to go for safety, and I will go and find the other prison guards to come and rescue him later. But he needs to go save his own ass right now. And don't try to come out here and save the other prisoners or do shit like that because it's too violent for him. He's not going to make it. Right? Yeah. So I remember that vividly right now. So those are the moments that I remember. But the rest of the other 14 years, I don't remember everything. Yeah. So whenever we say that, oh yeah, this is going to create a life experience, right? Like you travel all over the world. You probably travel around to more countries than I have. But how much of that do you remember today? Like if I asked you, hey man, what was your name 3 most memorable experiences you had when you were in Seoul, Korea? Right, you spent like a year there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, what was your top most memorable experience?
Let's see, so probably partying with my friends on Halloween. Let's see. There was like a pretty good stint where I was like sleeping around pretty good.
Yeah. Okay, so basically you had fun with your guy friends drinking, you had fun with women over there, but then that's it.
Yeah.
That's it, and that's to me personally, and this, there's no right or wrong in this. There's not like an ethical or moral issue, right? It's just a what do you want in your life? And for me, I don't want that. I already wasted almost 14 years of my life in prison. So when I came out, my prison perspective has taught me that, you know, I don't want to waste my life anymore doing shit that I don't have anything to show for it at the end.
Yeah.
Like I go, you know, like you know, when you saw me in Vietnam, when you met me in Vietnam in 2019, right? You met me in Vietnam in 2019, and every year that has gone by, you have clearly witnessed that I am a different and better version of Ty. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Right? And maybe between 2019, you didn't see it between 2019 and 2020, but definitely within a 2-year span, there's a lot of time, and you can clearly tell that the version of Ty in 2019 is not the same as the version of Ty in 2021. Or the version of Ty in 2023. Right? So when I see myself, I look back, right? I want to become a better version of myself. Yes, I'm getting older, my hair is getting whiter, right? You know, my strength is not there anymore, right? I used to deadlift, you know, 500 pounds for reps with no problem every week in my 30s, right? In my 40s, it went down to 400 pounds, and now, you know, in my 50s, I'm down to like in the 300 pounds, right? Physically, I'm not the same person, you know. I cannot run as long anymore. I cannot jump as high anymore. I cannot have sex as long as anymore, you know. And all these physical attributes are weakening. But still, even with all this, the 52-year-old version of Ty today is still 1,000 times more valuable than the 18-year-old version of Ty when he went to prison.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's how I personally want to live my life. I want to live my life so that when I look back a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, 5 years from now, that I can look back and say, hey, you know what? The version of Ty today is a much better version of Ty a few months ago, a few quarters ago, a few years ago. Right?
Okay.
And even though I have enough money to retire, and I have enough money so that my kids don't have to work, my grandkids don't have to work, I still work on building these 2 online businesses, because one, I enjoy doing it. I enjoy building stuff and creating stuff and producing stuff and manufacturing stuff. I don't enjoy consuming stuff and just doing nothing. Like to me, going on vacation, eating, partying, getting fat, every time I go on vacation, I get fatter. Right? I don't enjoy that. I don't enjoy consuming. Right? even though I have enough money, like every time we've been out, I don't know how many times we've been out to eat, right? And we eat at nice restaurants and stuff, and I have paid for every meal that we have eaten at, right? I don't care, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter to me. Like, you have seen me go and eat at places that, like, you have enough money, Ty. I know you have enough money to eat at whatever restaurant you want, right? Like, how come you're eating at some of these lower end restaurants or whatever? Well, maybe it's because I like the food. Maybe it's for whatever reason it's convenient for me at that time. Okay? I don't always have to eat the most expensive food. I don't always have to wear the most expensive clothes or drive the most expensive cars. Okay? I like to be a person, right? I want my kids and my grandkids and my future descendants to remember me, as someone that, man, that guy was a productive dude, man. Look at all the shit that he did. I look up to Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee is one of my heroes. Bruce Lee is one of the guys I look up to. And I remember when I was in prison, I was reading all the books that he wrote, and I looked at his life, I was like, holy shit, man, this dude was like in his 30s, and look at all the shit that he's done. And most people nowadays, right, when you look at them in their 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s, you look at them, at their life, they haven't done shit. They haven't done anything that's worth fucking talking about. They haven't done anything worth making a movie about. They haven't done anything that's worth, right, telling their friends about. They haven't done anything worth that their family members would say, man, I'm so proud that that dude is my cousin. I'm so proud that dude is my brother. I'm so proud that that dude is my, my little brother. I'm so proud that dude's my dad. I'm so proud that dude's my uncle. I'm so proud that dude's my niece. I'm so proud that dude's my nephew. I'm so proud that dude's my cousin or my brother. Most people live a very fucking boring life, man. And I don't want to be that motherfucker. I don't want to be that person. That's why I still do this shit.
I think it's... Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think it's very obvious, for you, legacy is, super important.
It's not even, even if I had no kids, and no descendants, I would still want to live a life where I feel like I'm productive, man. Like I'm doing something, I'm making something, I'm building something, man. I feel like as soon as you stop building something, as soon as you stop creating something, as soon as you stop producing something, you start to wither and die away, man. You start to get old and die away.
I mean, that's pretty much proven. That they even have studies before about how people who they don't older people tend to live longer because if they have some kind of job or something like that, just to have some kind of reason to wake up.
Yeah,
and
I see. That's what got proven. Yeah, when I stopped working on Wall Street, right? I can tell you right now, mentally, my mental capacity to think things quickly, process data quickly, and make decisions quickly, if it was 100% on Wall Street, when I worked on Wall Street, it's probably 60, 65% right now. And to me, I have all this money, right? But I feel like I'm an old fart, man. Sometimes when you or somebody else, one of our other students asks me a question or something, I gotta sit there and think about this shit. And I'm like, why am I taking so long to think about this shit? Just a few months ago or just a year ago when I was working on Wall Street, man, those answers would come to my mind immediately. And I don't like living like that. To me, going on vacation and laying at the beach and just doing nothing, right? And not putting my mind to use, man. I feel like I'm killing myself softly and slowly. I don't see myself as being able to be around much longer.
I think it's just a muscle, dude. It's obviously if you're doing critical thinking every day versus then all of a sudden you just stop. You're not working that muscle, so it's it's atrophy.
Yeah, and so
yeah.
I agree, and I don't like to let my brain atrophy and get weak like that. I don't like that.
Yeah,
I don't enjoy that, right? And plus, right, the products that I create, the courses I create, the training that I create, the conferences that I do, the seminars that I create, right? I get paid for it.
Yeah,
I get rewarded for it. And I take some of that money and I go and do charity, that during the COVID, right, in our village where we come from, right, in South Vietnam, I donated the largest amount of rice ever in the history of that village. I donated 23 tons of rice to that village during the COVID. And I enjoy that. I enjoy being able to like help my town that I'm from, or my village, or my city, or my country, or whatever. When I see that there's a need and I'm capable of doing that, and if I have the knowledge and the skills to build a successful business that's profitable, and I can use that money to make changes around me in society and around my community and my city and my country, I don't see why I would not do it. I just don't see why. Why wouldn't I have the ability to do this and easily and not do it? And just go fucking hit a stupid golf ball all day. Or go lay at the beach all day.
Yeah.
I don't see that. I don't see any value in that. Like, I do go play golf. I do go swim at the beach. I go scuba diving. I do things. I just don't see the point in doing it all day, every week. Like, I know you're single, so I think like I know you're single.
I think that there's value.
Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. No, I think it's that obviously it's like kind of like just whatever balances you. Like for me, I enjoy more playtime. But if you don't, then that's up to you.
Yeah, see, the thing is, like when you're chasing women, like I know you're single, so there's nothing wrong with that. Like you're chasing women, and I'm over here building a business, building products, building content, building courses, building training, courses and stuff. And you might see that as work.
Yeah.
And you might see that chasing girls and taking girls to the clubs and going dancing with girls is playtime, and for me it's work time. I don't see that like that. Like you might sit there and play video games for an hour and you say that's playtime, and I'm over here on the computer creating my course and you say that's work time. I don't see it like that. I enjoy what I do. I like, I enjoy like when I create a course or I can create a video that 1,000 people watch and 2,000 people watch, and it influences a change in their life for the positive or for the better. I enjoy that. I look at that as playtime. I look at that as my leisure. I don't look at that as work.
Yeah.
Right? So it goes down to, it comes back to how do we define what is work and what is not work. Like to me, like for you to go and take a different girl out each week on a date to go drink and hope to get into her pants and have sex with her and get her in bed and stuff like that, to me that's fucking work. When I was single, I did that. I hated that shit. I hated the fact that I had to run around and chase tail and chase girls or go and take girls out. I thought that was a complete waste of my fucking time, man. I really did. I did not see any fucking value in that, man. Like, you can bring me the hottest girls and I take them out and go have fun with them and have sex with them and drink with them and eat with them and party with them and take them on vacation. To me, that's a complete waste of fucking my time in anything. I don't give a shit about the money because I can make more money. But that's a complete waste of my time because I just took that girl out, there goes a night of my life, a day of my life, a week of my life, a month of my life, right? To me, that's just a waste of fucking time because I have nothing to show for it. What do I have to show? Do I have a Lambo now? Do I have a new house? Do I have a book written? Do I have a song made? Did I manufacture a new watch after I go out with that hot girl? Nothing. I have nothing to show for it. So I don't like wasting time doing shit and have nothing to show for it afterwards. Like some guys might say, oh, well, yeah, you get to bang this hot chick or whatever. I don't give a fucking shit. How does that change my life? How does banging that hot chick change my life? How? I don't see how banging that hot chick. If you really want to bang a hot chick, man, there's a bunch of escort services, a bunch of prostitutes. There's a bunch of fucking hot prostitutes and escorts out there. Why are you spending all those weeks and months to go waste time banging that hot chick for, and afterwards, what do you get out of it? To me, that's all dumb shit. To me, that's all dumb ego shit, man. Now Now, did I have those desires when I was a teenager? Of course I did. Of course I did. You know, I'm a fucking dude, man. I got dick and balls. Of course I had those desires when I was a teenager. But, you know, when I came out of prison at 34 years old, right, I realized, man, that I can spend the next 5, 10, 20 years of my life chasing ass, chasing tail, chasing girls. But what is that going to do for my life, man? Some people always ask me, how the fuck did you live in a refugee camp, come to America, live in the ghettos, drop out of high school, and go to prison for 14 years, and then come out of prison and then become a multimillionaire in fucking 11 years? The reason why is because I didn't fucking spend time dicking around and wasting time on stupid shit that does not help improve my life. Right?
Yeah.
And when you hear me say that, right, you might think that, oh, you know, you're just, you know, some people say, oh, you know, it sounds stressful what you're doing. You know, it sounds like, you know, you're living a hard life or whatever. I'm like, dude, going to work every fucking day, stuck in traffic for an hour, sitting in an hour of traffic in Houston, in Los Angeles, in Dallas, in New York, for an hour to go to work, to me, that is stressful. Sitting there behind the fucking steering wheel for a whole fucking hour, right? Doing nothing, but sitting there for an hour just to get to work. And then when I come home, I have to sit there in traffic for another hour, right? I couldn't wait until I made enough money to escape the 9-to-5 day job. And you know what it was? It was just so that I can not have to sit in traffic, man. And waste 2 hours of my damn life doing nothing other than sitting in traffic. Right? I was living in Dallas at that time, and I was going to work at an energy brokerage firm, and it was the most miserable experience going to work and coming back from work, because they were building the highways. People were trying to sneak and not pay the toll fees when they go through the airport, because there was a side road that they can sneak around the airport and not have to pay the toll fees, right? So the city of Dallas did not like that people were sneaking around and avoiding paying the tolls to go through the airport. So they shut down all this construction, man. They shut down all these highways to rebuild the roads and reroute the roads to make sure that they collect their money when you drive past the airport, right? And shut down all the free routes and everything. And that took like, I don't know several years to do all that. But now their traffic is much, much better. Like they built, I don't know how many lanes, like 20 lanes of traffic now, so that there's no more traffic jam there on the north side of the airport, right? But during all that construction time, I had to sit there in traffic for an hour every day going to work and coming back from work, right?
Yeah.
So
it's funny because I think I told you this before, but I remember like when you were telling me about how you wanted to homeschool your kids and stuff like that. Like I think it's only been a few years, I think, but then I decided that I do want kids in the future.
Yeah.
And just like I remember like there's some schools I go to where literally like at 5 p.m. like that shit would be so fucking packed with with parents just trying to pick up their kids. I'm just like, oh my god, dude, I would not want to fucking do this 5 days a week for like 12 years of my life.
Exactly. I see that and it gives me shivers. And by the way, and by the way, I want to correct something here. I'm not homeschooling my kids.
Yeah.
The concept of school has failed. The institution of school is bullshit. It has failed. It does not work. It served humans and it served society during the agricultural age and the industrial age, but we are in the information age now, where information is, you can get access to any information you want, whether it's free or it's paid online, and it's more organized, it's more updated, and it's more condensed, and it's more precise. There's no need for you to go to school unless you need a license from the government to do that job or that activity. Like if you want to be a doctor, you have to go to school, because there's no other way to get a government license if you don't go to school, right? But besides anything else, you don't need if you don't need a license from the government to do that job or that activity or that business, I think school is a scam. The reason why it's a scam because it doesn't prepare you to do the things that you need to do to survive out in the world, right? And
yeah, that's true.
And like, so when you say homeschool, I want to be clear that I don't give a shit about school. Period. I'm not homeschooling my kids. I am educating my kids at home. I am a strong believer in education. I believe the reason why I left Vietnam as a refugee and grew up in the Malaysian refugee camps and then ended up in America in the ghettos, the only reason why I escaped poverty was because I increased my knowledge. Okay? I didn't know how to make money, and I had to learn how to make money. I didn't know how to build a business. I had to learn how to build a business. Okay? Now, I focus on online businesses because I prefer that. That's my preference. I like online businesses more than offline businesses, right? We do offline events, like we do boot camps and conferences to teach our students. So they are offline also, but mostly I prefer online because I prefer to deal with less people if possible, and I rather use technology online to run my business, right? So instead of having 50 employees, I'd rather have just 10 employees and use technology to replace the other 40 employees. Okay, that's what I prefer. That's what me and my business partners prefer. Okay, but to come back to it, right? I enjoy building a business, in my retirement years, because now I get to actually build what I want. I actually get to run the business the way I want. I don't have to, give a shit what anybody says or does. I have the freedom to do it the way I want to. Okay?
Yeah.
And I enjoy being able to create the products that changes other people's lives financially and do it the way that I want to, not the way that I have to. Okay?
Yeah.
So, and most people don't like to build businesses, right? Because they think, because there's no end in sight. And when I say there's no end in sight, there's no short-term end in sight, like when you go to college. Okay? Like when you go to college, you know that, hey man, I start in the year 2000, by the year 2004, I'm going to be done. I start in the year 2003, in 4 years, that's 2007, I'm going to be done. So there's an end start point, there's an end point. Whereas when you're an entrepreneur and you build a business, there's a start point, but there's no end point. And you don't know what the reward's going to be. And that's the risk that you take. Because you don't know what it is, that's how you end up getting paid more. So when I was showing you how to build an online education business, like we have, and I said that I used the number, that you are going to make $500 a month from your online education business in teaching English online, right? That's actually just a low number. The real number is going to be in the thousands of dollars a month. Because there's no way you're going to take the time to build an English course, a product, and then you build a website, then you build a shopping cart, and then you build an email marketing system, and then you build a refund system, and you build a customer FAQ system, and then you build a payment processing system, you build a shopping cart system, and you build all these things, and you assemble it together into one business system. There's no way you're going to do all that and just have that system only produce you $500 a month. That's not realistic.
Okay. Yeah.
You understand? Like, even if you wanted to build all that out and say, hey man, I want to build out all that business system that you just talked about, Ty, assemble together into one big business system so it produces income for me each month, and I want it to only produce $500 a month income for me. That's tough. Because there's no way you create that much value, right? And it only produces $500 a month. That's really, really hard to do. Like you have to intentionally, be an asshole to your customers to only make $500 a month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. All right, man. I've been screaming and yelling at this camera. I'm exhausted, and I'm hungry, and I'm thirsty, right? So I gotta go get something to eat and drink here, man. So I hope that helps you out in your business endeavors, in your entrepreneurship journey, and I hope that answers. Before I started this video recording, we already talked about crypto. So, hopefully that helps you out in some way. All right.
That's cool. Yeah, for sure. And then so yeah, I'm still like as far as my savings, I'm gonna do the math, 80%, so half, and then the rest into Ethereum at the moment.
Yeah, just make it simple, man. Just make it simple, because you know that from the past for you personally, maybe for other students different, but for you personally, you have not had a problem making a profit in crypto. What has always been your problem? Losing the tokens, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, whether you get hacked, whether you didn't do your security correctly like we showed you, right? Whether it comes down to you need to focus on correcting your common mistakes, which is avoid losing your tokens. Like I've not known you to have a problem making a profit doing what we teach you. Okay, that you have not demonstrated that you are not capable of making a profit in crypto doing what we teach you. But you have clearly demonstrated that you do not follow proper security protocols like we teach. All right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. By the way, my Samsung S8 Active starting to run into problems. I'm probably gonna get a new phone soon. Do you suggest I get the same thing, or as I remember you were telling me about like Samsung coming out with a new version or something like that.
Yeah. They came out with a new version. I would recommend the Samsung. If you want a durable phone that's water resistant, drop proof, crash proof, and everything, right? The one that I recommend is the same line of Samsung phones. The old model, the previous name for them for the line of phones, the durable phones, are called the Samsung Active phones. But now they don't call them the Samsung Active phones no more. They call them the Samsung something Pro.
Okay.
Hold on.
Cool.
Let me see. They call it something Pro. Oh, X Cover Pro. Why they changed the name from Samsung Active to Samsung X Cover Pro for? I have no. It belongs in the family of rugged phones. Okay. They belong to the family of what's called rugged phones. Okay. Just like the rugged laptops.
Okay.
Right. So that's the one that I would recommend. Okay.
X Cover Pro. Okay.
Yeah, and the reason why you need two of them, you always buy two phones because for security reasons, you want to always back up your Google Authenticator, your two-factor authenticator. So every time you do it, you back it up to a second phone, and you put the backup phone. The second phone is the backup phone. You want to put that in your steel safe at home, and then while you're using the primary phone, right? In case you lose it, you have a backup of all your Google Authenticator codes.
Okay.
That's
I'll probably just get one so that I have this one as a backup.
Yeah.
And then just put it in my safe.
Yeah. Okay, man. Okay.
Cool.
All right. Oh, and by the way, in case you're watching this video and you don't have access to the X Cover Pro by Samsung, if you don't have access to buy that rugged phone, then I would just get like the regular Samsung phones. And if you're an iPhone user, just get two of them, right? And if you're saying, hey, cost is an issue, then you don't have to buy the most current one, right? I usually use the most current phones, but if like say for example, you don't want to use the Samsung S22, right? You can get the model before that or the previous versions that are older. They still work. Just get two of them. Just whichever one you get, right? If you get one generation older or 2 generations older, just make sure you get two of them so that it's the exact same phone, so it's easier to back up and make copies of it.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah. Okay, man. All right, take care, bro.
All right, you too. All right, talk to you later.
All right.
Bye.